This is The Wheel Weaves, a Wheel of Time podcast with no spoilers. Hey everyone, I'm your host Dani, and I'm the first-time reader going through this series chapter by chapter. As always, there's no spoilers past the chapter we're covering, and that means it's totally safe for first-time readers. I'm joined by my co-host Brett, who's a longtime fan, and he's guiding me on this journey. We'd like to acknowledge and thank our executive producers, Brandy and Kirkwood, Sean McGuire, Giannis, Rikky, Morrisette, Lorenzo, Eddie Costello, LightBlindedFool, and the Amyrlin seat. And before we get into things today, we just want to thank and welcome Her Barrett to the Wheel Weaves Patreon team. Thank you so much for your generosity and your support. We really appreciate it. In this episode, we're talking about chapters 21 and 22 of A Crown of Swords.
Yeah, and officially we are halfway done.
Yeah, I said that last time.
Yeah, but now we're like officially over the halfway mark.
Yeah.
Kind of because doing the two chapters thing, it's like sometimes hard to judge when.
No, it was last chapter.
Yeah, but officially. Anyways, chapter 21 is Swovan Night.
Yeah.
And chapter 22 is Small Sacrifices.
Yes, it is.
We got some interesting things in the works here.
Yeah. Yep.
And we get some very important meetings.
Yes, we do.
Yeah, I like it. I like these chapters.
I do too. I'm going to mark these down as my favorite this book so far.
Really?
Yeah.
Because the Matt and Birgitte
that part's
thing?
great.
Yeah.
Part's great.
Okay.
And then the next chapter
is
extra great.
Cool. Yeah.
I like it.
And my favorite thing is because of all the awesome real world references to things. Happens a couple of times.
You would love that, wouldn't you?
Yes, I would. And that's how I'm going to start us off today.
Wow, good transition.
Yeah, thank you. I've been working on that.
Yeah,
so.
It's like you're a professional.
It only took like 3 years. Anyways, so Matt is like having his flashback. We'll talk about that when we get there. But we totally get some characters, some names from the blowing of the Horn of Valir, and I've got some connections to make, plus one bonus reference.
Ooh.
Yeah, okay. So Archer Hawkwing, we've talked about it. Alexander the Great, we're not going to talk about him anymore. Next, we've got Mikkel of the Pure Heart, also known as Michael, which we learned back in The Great Hunt.
Okay.
And Michael, or Mikkel, is a reference to Saint Michael, the Archangel, in Christianity, Islam, and Judaism, because the earliest mentions of him have him as the chief of the angels and archangels.
Okay.
So that's the first one. Next one we have is Swovan the Hunter behind his black mask.
These, I'm sorry to interrupt.
Yeah.
Are these all names we get this chapter?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
During his flashback, he goes through the characters and the descriptions of them.
Right. Oh, yeah. Okay, now I know what you're talking about.
So Swovan the Hunter behind his black mask, who's said to herald the end of ages and the destruction of what had been and the birth of what was to be. Swovan the Hunter is the reference to Shiva, the destroyer in Hindu mythology. And then Swovan the Hunter's sister, Kalian, called the Chooser. Kalian is referring to the Hindu goddess Kali, who's now considered a goddess of time and change, and always interconnected with Shiva.
Okay.
Then, the next reference we have is Amyrlin with the sword of the sun glowing in her hands. That's in the book. And the real-world reference to that is Amaterasu, the Japanese goddess of the sun.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
And then the last one we have is Pedrig, the golden-tongued peacemaker, and that's a reference to St. Patrick, because the Pedrig is a play on the Irish Padraig, which is Patrick.
Okay.
So it's St. Patrick, and he was the primary patron saint of Ireland, and regarded as the enlightener of Ireland, and was an active missionary there. And that's what St. Patrick's Day is, all about.
Ew.
There you go.
Okay, good. And we honor that guy with green beer.
Yeah, exactly.
Cool.
Like 100% accurate. That's what St. Patrick's Day all about. So
yeah,
anyways.
And leprechauns.
Exactly.
Cool.
Right.
Cool.
Okay.
Catch
and
them.
shamrocks too.
Yeah.
Okay. So then the bonus reference we get is at the beginning of Nynaeve's perspective, so no longer in the flashback with Horn of Valir. She thinks about how she wants to sleep for a month or a year and forget her worries until Lan wakened her with a kiss like the Sun King of Talia.
Yeah.
But the story was very improper anyways.
Yes.
You probably know what this is referring to.
Well, it could be one of two.
Okay.
It could either be Snow White or Sleeping Beauty.
So here's the thing.
Because there have been several princesses who are just dead asleep.
Sure,
and then princes just amble up and kiss dead princesses and then they wake up?
Very improper.
Yeah.
So, I have a definitive answer for you. This one is a reference to Sleeping Beauty.
Okay.
Because the Italian poet Bastille published a version called Sun, Moon, and Talia. Talia is the name of the princess.
Okay.
And then the Sun King of Talia.
We all know her name is actually Aurora.
Okay.
So
there we go. But yeah,
Wrong.
I'm not going to go through the entire story of this one, but if you look it up, it is very improper.
Ooh.
Involves
Nope.
murder plots.
Oh my gosh.
And
improper.
Yeah, it's not good.
Not good.
Anyways.
Yeah. Yikes.
Yeah, so there we go.
As with most old fairy tales.
There's quotes,
they're bad.
They are not good.
Yeah. All right. And on that note, should I tell you what we were talking about last time we were here?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay. So we had sexy grief time with random men.
Yeah, okay. Right. That there may or may not be fallout from.
What kind of fallout do you think?
I don't want to. That's what you said last time. It's like, there's no way this is going to go over well.
Well, it's just like, are they getting married?
Exactly. Like,
how's
what kind
he
of...
going to deal with this?
Yeah.
Yeah. It's going to be a thing.
It's going to be a thing.
It's going to be a thing. Okay. So then we also got this new, super old and powerful codswain.
Yep.
Aes Sedai, who's here and is going to attempt to manipulate Rand, and good luck with that, sister.
Yes.
I don't think it's going to go well for Codswain, and I don't think she's used to things not going well for her.
True, and not necessarily for nefarious reasons, but just for her own reasons.
Yeah, that's what it seems like.
Okay,
just
like
because she wants control.
Not like Black Aja style.
I don't think so.
Right, okay, that's what we kind of came to the conclusion
No, I didn't get that feeling.
Okay.
No. Now, we also got that Savannah is working with multiple Forsaken and doesn't know it.
Yes.
So that was interesting.
Yep. And we had the introduction of the Watcher.
The Watcher.
The Watcher.
Some other guy.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. Tuck it all away.
Yeah. Now, last time we were with Matt, he was being attacked in his inn, just outside his room.
Yep.
And we're going to enter chapter 21 in Matt's perspective a little bit later that day.
Awesome. So let's do it.
Okay. Chapter 21, Swovan Night. And the chapter symbol's 5 dice for Matt.
Yeah.
And his rolling dice.
Yeah, he is. And we got the setup for his
Yeah,
party time with Beslin.
his new best friend.
Exactly. Yeah. Forced
Okay.
best friends.
Yeah. So it's nighttime in Ebudar, and there are still groups of people out partying in the street for Swovan Night, and Matt's alone on the street right now, and he can hear the sounds of bare feet running away from him because one of those two people should be staggering and the other bleeding.
Yes. And the third one, dead on the ground.
Dead on the ground, because Matt was just attacked by 3 beggars who wanted to steal from him.
Exactly. And the most hilarious thing is that he thinks about the large sack that they had, and he's like, oh, that's optimistic for the amount of stuff they're going to find in my pockets. But it's like, dude, you literally think about how the sack could fit you in it.
Yep.
This was either... So I want to hear what your thoughts are.
Yeah.
Kidnapping or, murder and hide the body.
Kidnapping.
Just, conk him on the head and put him in a bag and drag him off?
Yeah.
Because we do know who's probably after him.
Yeah. Yeah. Carradine.
Yeah, and Millie Skane.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay.
Yeah. No, that's what I speculated last time with the big old chest.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. This time freaking beggars, man.
And last time I was like, man, is Matt purposefully being super naive? Or is he just dumb? And then now again, I'm like, what is happening?
We know that he thinks one thing, though. He thinks a certain way, even though that's not really what he thinks or how he's going to act.
Yeah, that's true. Even in his own head.
Yeah. He's lying to himself intentionally.
All the time.
So.
Yeah, because Matt gets moving down the empty street because he's like, I can't stick around here. And man, it's super weird that a bunch of beggars attacked me.
Yeah.
Who ever heard of beggars attacking people?
Yeah, they must be super desperate.
Oh yeah, times are so hard for people right now.
And do note the dice are still going in his head.
Still rolling. Yeah. So now he's going to head back to the Wandering Woman, and some people are still partying here. So Matt catches Kara.
Yeah, Kara or Kyra.
Yep. Yeah.
That's the one that they probably maybe have a bit of a relationship.
Right. You mentioned that last time.
Yeah.
And I remember specifically I told you I didn't care and didn't want to talk about it.
Sure.
But she comes up a little bit here.
She does. And, like, I think it's more of a one-sided relationship. Like, she is into him.
Yeah,
and he's,
sure.
like, maybe not that much into her.
Well, because we got last time that she's a little too close to the innkeeper.
Yeah.
Who wouldn't really care for Matt, you know.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, I feel...
dandling her on his knee.
I feel like they've dandled. I feel like that's happened.
And that's why she's upset.
Yeah, and maybe she's more clingy than he would perhaps want.
Well, then maybe he should be a little bit more respectful.
Yeah, okay.
Shouldn't be having some gilded woman...
I know, right? Oh my goodness.
Up in his room waiting for him.
Before we get on to that, I did want to reference the fact that Matt thinks about how there are illuminators here because there's fireworks going off. And he thinks about how he wants to find one to buy something. Yeah. And he thinks that if an illuminator is selling night flowers, they would be selling more than that. So he's got like a side plan going on.
He has since forever.
He wants to blow up another stone of tear.
I was going to say.
Got to get another.
Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah, for sure. For sure.
Right?
Yep. Wants to blow something up.
Blow something. But it's like, what does he want to blow up here?
I don't know. I think he's just really curious about how they work. That's been his whole thing.
That's true from the get-go.
He wants to figure out how fireworks work. I think he wants to make them and sell them as a side hustle.
Right. Maybe. He's like, I could make more money with my side business.
Fireworks.
Right.
Crazy Matt's fireworks stand.
Love it.
Yes. It'll be a chain.
You're right. Yeah. Right.
All right, anyway, so he wants to eat some dinner, but then Kara's like, no.
Oh, yeah, she's salty.
You can't even have anything. Maybe some bread to sop up all that wine you've been drinking.
Right. It's rude.
By the way,
there's
a gilded woman waiting for you in your room.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh, no.
Yeah.
What now?
Well, he's like, oh, man, the only people who would be in my room is, like, someone who wants to kill me, probably.
Right. Yeah. Well, because he thinks that there have been 2 attempts now to rob him.
Yeah.
And he doesn't think that the woman from the racetrack saw him, so it probably isn't her.
Right. Well, like in his room.
He's like, it can't be. And it's like, now listen, Matt. Chances are this is who it is. I thought. You know what I mean?
Okay, yeah.
It's like, clearly people are after you.
Sure.
And when you think to yourself, it can't be that person. They obviously didn't see me.
Yeah. No,
like,
I get that.
Maybe you're just not as stealthy as you think you are.
That's totally fair. The only thing is, like, would an assassin really be known to be in his room if they were there to kill him?
He doesn't know that she's an assassin.
Yeah, well, I mean,
except
know.
From the before time when she
tried to assassinate him. That's the only experience I have.
But that's why I would have it in my head. Like, this woman I followed who tried to kill me once.
Yeah.
And then I was attacked twice today.
Totally.
And now there's a woman in my room. I wouldn't just go, like, wandering up there.
Yeah.
I'm glad he does.
Fair.
Because this is great.
Yeah.
But he also thinks to himself, as he's about to enter his room, about another woman that he's already killed.
Yes.
Now, I want to read the wording of this.
Okay.
And I want to ask what you think.
Okay. Like for who this person is?
Yes.
Okay.
Because, so it says, he fingered a hilt under his coat and then took his hand away as a woman flared into his thoughts. A tall woman falling with the hilt of a knife protruding between her breasts. His knife. And then he thinks luck would just have to be with him, and he sighs and pushes his door open.
Yeah.
So he has a memory of him killing a woman.
Sure.
And a tall woman at that. So I thought he's having this memory of killing Melindra.
Right.
Because I think he still has a hang-up about killing women. Not as bad as Rand.
Okay.
But we have got that all of the Two Rivers men have kind of these hang-ups of killing women specifically.
Sure, okay.
So maybe that's like the last woman he killed, and he's thinking about that.
Oh, okay. I was going to say I would disagree, because I read it as someone tried to kill him this morning, and it was a woman. Because if he was thinking about Melindra, he'd probably think of her as Melindra, because he had a relationship with her.
Yeah, I know.
For a while.
Yeah.
He wouldn't just think of like, oh, that tall woman.
Maybe, though. Maybe it's the writing style.
Maybe. And it's like, okay, I'll give you the benefit there that maybe that is what he's thinking about. I don't think Matt has the hang-up about killing women that the other boys do. Like, sure, maybe he regrets it, but he isn't going to release the knife any slower.
Oh, for sure not.
Like, he is, he's
for
going to
sure.
kill
But
you.
that's probably what he was thinking. He's like, I'm going to have to do this again.
Yeah.
And I thought that maybe he was thinking back to the last time he killed a woman.
Okay.
Unless we've seen him kill a woman since then that I can't remember.
I haven't kept track with Matt on who he kills.
No.
So,
No, I don't remember. So that's what I thought anyway.
Okay.
All right, so he gets his knife ready, opens the door, and it's not Dark Friend Assassin.
No.
It's
Birgitte. Yay.
And
okay.
I wrote, oh yeah. Oh, I forgot. I forgot that she was coming to talk to him.
It's like immediately, that's the plan.
Yeah,
so.
I was excited about this.
Yeah.
This was great.
This is so funny, too.
Yeah, she's examining his bow.
Because it's big.
Yeah.
And then he starts to say, like, hey, if this is about Oliver, but we do know Oliver's tucked in his bed right now, so it's fine.
Uh-huh.
But then, boom, he gets hit with his flashback.
Yeah, I predicted this.
I love it. So he remembers a scene from Falma where he blows the horn, he goes right down, and then he remembers the woman with the silver bow, and she never misses.
Right.
And then he's back in real time. He's like, okay.
Brigitte, you're her. Oh my God, for real.
How?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
But this is so funny. I need to talk about how I said this.
Flashback.
Yeah,
for sure.
Because I was like, ooh, we got the funny flashback with the Dark Friend woman.
Yeah.
And I was like, the only way he's going to remember Brigitte is if we get a specific flashback scene. Because now this is how Matt is starting to remember stuff.
He's getting the so he kind of puts it together, which is awesome. And I do like the fact that they talk about this right now.
This is like the holes in his memory, like, being filled.
Yeah, okay. And I do appreciate that it's like, she doesn't try to duck around it anymore. She's like, okay, you got me. And then she explains what happened. Like, hey, Moghedien ripped me out of Tel'aran'rhiod, so I'm here now. And then Elayne saved me with the bonding.
Yeah.
They don't try and dance around it anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. No, this is great. This is a good new friendship.
Yeah.
Because she started to admire him a little bit. She didn't see him as quite the scoundrel that Elayne and Nynaeve
Well, I mean,
did.
Birgitte's a scoundrel, too, if we're going to, be real about this.
Yeah.
So she gets it.
Yeah.
And she told him, like, he's the most dangerous guy here.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. True.
Yeah, it's the start of a either beautiful friendship. Or not that. What do you think is going to actually happen long term with them?
Friendship.
Like, legitimate? Like,
yeah.
Okay. Even with the whole Elayne border?
Yeah.
She's on their side?
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think Elaine's going to come around to Matt.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think I already see it a little bit.
It's
in the next chapter.
Turning slowly. Yeah. I see that.
Nynaeve never. But Elayne...
more so than Nynaeve, so.
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
But yeah, I think Elayne will come around to it.
Okay. All right.
But that's funny because this is where Matt sits down in a chair and he's like scowling and he says, Nynaeve and Elayne knew this the whole time and kept it from me. I'm so tired of secrets.
Yeah.
And Brigitte's like, yeah, but you have secrets too. Like, you haven't told them that you blew the Horn of Valir. Yeah, and that's one of your smallest secrets.
That's actually an interesting thing too, because Matt thinks about how he thinks that they would have told Birgitte because they should know about him sounding the horn. But clearly she doesn't know that
they know that.
It's a weird dynamic there that's like information isn't being passed along properly.
Yeah, because they were with Matt when he was like basically dying.
Yeah.
And brought him back to the tower.
With the horn.
With the horn.
And the dagger.
So they should know, right?
They should know.
They do know?
And I was thinking, like...
Do we know if they actually know?
Do we know if they know for sure? It's one of those situations, like, do we actually see the scene?
Did Varen actually keep the Horn of Valir hidden from them that entire time?
Like, they should know that the horn is in the tower.
Maybe they don't.
And now we have to go back and look, because that's one of those, like, tracking things of, do we see the actual scene where they verify that they know about the things?
Yeah, I really just don't think they know.
Yeah. Possibly. Let's check into it and we'll report back later. So
okay.
That's fine.
Okay, yeah, because this is where Matt takes the opportunity to be like, hey, Birgitte, you gotta make these women see reason. We gotta leave this dangerous place. Don't you have some sway over them? Tell them to leave.
Yeah, and that is not how that relationship is going to play out, obviously.
No, she's like, I'm Elaine's warder and I obey her.
Yeah.
And this is where Matt's like, well, what secrets do I even have?
And
clearly I don't have any.
Yeah, no secrets.
And she's like, yeah, what language are we speaking right now? Horn sounder.
Oh, no, I did it again.
Shit.
Shoot, okay.
Shit. Get that under control, Matt.
Yeah. Well, when you're talking with someone who finally speaks your language and you don't even realize.
Yeah, you've been having a conversation in the old tongue the whole time.
There we go. That's what's happening. And
so he starts telling Birgitte, well, and Aes Sedai told me that I have old blood.
Yeah, so that accounts for all of it.
Old blood. And Brigitte's just like laughing. She tells him that some people speak a few words or a phrase or two in the old tongue because of the old blood.
Yeah, and they don't actually know what they're saying.
Yes. And that was kind of like Matt initially.
Yes,
when he
absolutely.
was doing his like battle cry.
100%.
And he didn't know what he said.
Absolutely.
But it's evolved.
Yes.
Since then.
Because now this is like a straight up direct reference that he's got different like dialects.
Yeah. One phrase you're a high prince of someplace, and the next you're like a first lord of a someplace, but...
Yeah. So this is literally like the old memories filling in all the rest of the language, but then he's got the different accents for where the people are from.
Right,
so
which is funny.
Yeah.
But she's like, your secret's safe with me. Like, don't worry.
That's the thing. She's really the only person who would know all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because everybody else would probably never pick up on that.
Never.
Unless there's someone who, I don't know, like some brown Aja sister who specializes in Old Tongue. There's probably one sister who could be like, oh, that's weird.
Yeah, maybe. Maybe.
But, like, that's it.
And that's a hard maybe.
Yeah.
Because even studying, like, dialects and stuff would be difficult without actually hearing people speak it.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anyways.
So, we get this whole cute, like, oh, your secret's safe with me. Me too.
Yeah.
Bestie.
And then, the best solution.
Let's go drink.
Yeah. Because friggin' Elayne doesn't even let Birgitte look at man.
Yeah.
Or anything.
Or drink.
Nothing fun.
Nothing fun.
So they are going to go get plastered.
I need a drink. And she's like, me too.
Like a few pitchers.
Of wine.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Love this.
Not even punch.
No.
We're busting out the good stuff
there
here.
There we go. It's Swovan night still.
It's Swovan night.
Technically counts.
There we go. So we are going to switch perspectives.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay, to Nynaeve. This is pretty funny.
It is. It's a funny,
good one.
Knowing what's happening. You could probably guess what was happening while Elayne was being all weird and
wonky.
Yeah,
no, I couldn't. I didn't know what was happening.
Okay, that's
and
so funny.
And then when it did happen, I like laughed out loud. I went, oh, that's so funny.
It's like the progression.
It is funny. There is a progression. So
yeah.
We get that the whole crew is sitting in the palace. It's nighttime, and they're waiting for Birgitte to come back.
It's so
They're
dumb.
like, how long does it take to say, hey, Matt, meet us in the morning. You're looking for a bowl with us.
Right.
How long does that take?
It doesn't take very long.
But becoming best drinking friends.
The follow-up to that night.
Yes.
Right? It's a celebration. But they're being so stuffy right now.
Oh, so stuffy.
Oh.
Nynaeve can hear music in the streets.
Well, here's the thing. She's not even being... So, Nynaeve thinks about how only fools would pass up an opportunity to dance because they got invited to a bunch of balls by Queen Tylan.
Yes.
But they said no.
Declined.
But, like, Nynaeve likes to go dance and have fun.
Yeah.
She even thinks about that.
Yeah, why didn't they go to the ball?
Yeah. It's like a weird...
And especially considering they're trying to...
Yeah.
Schmooze with Tylan.
It's like, do that. Do that thing.
Yeah, why didn't they go to the ball?
Right?
I don't know.
And now Tom and Julian are stuck here, having no fun on Swovan night.
Yikes.
It's terrible.
Playing stones.
Yeah, it's the worst.
Why are they stuck here?
That's a good question, too.
I don't think they're stuck here. I think they're just, watching over. Finally, they have eyes on these women.
Yeah, I mean, that's possible, too.
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah.
That all seems weird.
Yeah, a little bit.
Oh, also, side note, Nynaeve is having some weather sense stuff about a storm coming, but not the weather type storm.
Yeah, and we've got a buildup of that with Nynaeve.
Yeah.
That her, weather sense isn't really about weather anymore.
Interesting.
So...
Well, you know what we haven't seen in quite a long time? Trollocs.
Okay.
Trolloc attack.
Sure. Are you saying that there's going to be a Trolloc attack?
I'm not saying there's not going to be one.
Okay, you're putting that on the table, though.
I'm not saying that there is going to be one, but that sort of type of thing...
Sure.
We haven't seen in a little while.
We're pretty far south for, we're about as far south as we can get.
No, I know.
It's harder to get further away,
You know where it was difficult for Trollocs to pop up in? The waist.
Okay.
The literal waist. The middle of the waist.
Sure.
That happened.
You have a point.
Yeah.
There was, there's maybe forsaking here too.
Plus gateways.
Yeah, no, that's the thing. Oh, but we don't actually know. We never seen Trollocs be moving through gateways yet.
Not yet, but that's also a thing.
Okay.
We just haven't seen that in a while. That
They're always using boats and wagons.
That literally was the biggest threat we could ever imagine.
Sure.
And now they just don't attack anymore.
They are possibly rebuilding their forces right now.
Or maybe they've just realized that it's not as effective a method.
They're like, they keep getting killed by the main characters.
Yes.
We got to come up with a new plan.
Well, clearly, they can fight Trollocs and this isn't working.
Yeah.
Like, flashback to Perrin in the Two Rivers. That didn't work.
Sure.
Should have worked.
Didn't.
Yeah. Okay.
All right.
Anyway,
something to think about.
I just had a,
You're putting it on the radar for maybe we're going to see Trollocs again.
Rogue thoughts. Haven't seen those guys in a while.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's like in zombie movies when zombies are no longer the main threat.
Right.
Yeah. It's like we beat the zombies.
Not zombie movies, zombie TV shows.
We can do that. Specifically one, whom we shall not name.
Right. All right, so now the hours are just like going by. Nynaeve keeps rereading the letter that Matt sent or left with Tylan for them. And the contents of the letter are making her pretty irritable.
Sure, which is fair.
Because of the whole Jacob Carradine thing.
Yeah.
She's like, oh man, that guy's bad guy.
Well, and he started the letter okay.
Yeah.
But then finished it very not okay.
Not good.
Could have been better.
So she asked Tom and Julian for probably the 100th time, like, are you sure you didn't tell him anything? And the men are really annoyed, and they're like, no, how could we tell him anyway?
Yeah, well, they didn't know anything about what they're doing here either.
No,
like, they're also not in the loop. So, but now they are. Apparently, they have filled in Tom and Julian now.
Right, but they didn't know because they were being so elusive.
Yeah, and we get that little side angle here of Nynaeve watching Aviendha because she's reading the Travels of Jane Farstrider, but then she thinks about she's wearing like a necklace, but she's not wearing the ivory bracelet anymore. And then
not until Elayne
has
gets one.
Like a matching or like a equivalent gift.
Uh-huh.
A Rand gift.
A Rand gift.
And Nynaeve doesn't understand it.
No.
But we can figure that out.
We can figure it out.
So, it's Rand.
Okay.
Rand's got to buy more jewelry.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, he does.
Got to dish it out to the women.
Yeah. If you're going to have multiple women, you better be giving them all presents.
Right.
That's what I always say.
The same present to all three.
Oh.
Across the board.
Equal, no
right?
favorites.
Yeah, that's...
No favorites.
That's how you do it, I think.
That's what I always say. Okay. All right, so Tom says that they should have sent Tom and Julian to talk with Matt. And
this is good.
Nynaeve is like, you would have just gone off drinking with them.
And that's great.
It's great. And then Elayne finally chimes in and is like, so what? This is a great night for partying.
Yeah, and right now she's like out looking out the window, listening to the music
She's giggling
and stuff.
and whatever. And Nynaeve is like, oh man, she's acting super weird. I swear she must be...
Sneaking drinks.
Sneaking gulps of wine.
But how could she? I've been watching her.
Right.
But that's the funny progression. It's like she's a little bit, and then she gets more and more, and then...
Yeah.
Yeah, Birgitte gets...
Brigitte's getting drunk.
Whew.
And it's affecting Elayne, and that's funny. And you know what? They alluded to that in the TV show.
Yeah, a little bit.
And Maureen.
Well, there's a difference here, though, because they talk about it afterwards, how that's not supposed to happen.
Well, they talk about a speculative...
Speculatively, it's not supposed to happen that way.
They don't know, though.
Well, Elayne,
They don't know how it happens. She has no freaking clue.
I'm just saying.
We'll get to it. I have some points.
Okay.
Yeah. We'll get to it, though. Because right now, Aviendha says, what I want to know is if Jacob Carradine is a Shadowrunner, then why haven't we just killed him?
Yeah, why don't we just go get him? Why doesn't the Queen go do that?
He's clearly a Dark Friend. In the Waste, we just kill Dark Friends.
Yeah, nobody's going to back him up. But I mean, okay, there is this little side tangent here, too, with the Tom conversation with Aviendha. And I actually like this. Because they kind of mentioned, like, hey, it's more complicated than that. We can't just do that. And Tom points out that Talon's a weak queen. And if Carradine, being the powerful ambassador of the White Cloaks that he is, gets charged or accused, then that's going to just rain a storm down on Tylan, who already has a precarious position. So you can't just do that. And yeah, it's a terrible system, but that's the one that she works under.
Yeah.
So Aviendha then saying, oh, well, she must be a coward then because she's not willing to risk it.
Yes.
And then Tom calls her out and says, you never had to face something you couldn't fight.
Oh, yeah.
Child. And calls her child.
Yeah.
And then says something so strong your only choice is to run away or be consumed alive. So try and withhold your judgment on Tylan until you actually come across that. And then Aviendha actually seems embarrassed.
You know why?
For what she says.
No. You know why she puts her head down and blushes?
Why?
Because of Rand.
Okay, it's always coming back to Rand.
It's always coming back to Rand. Obviously, that's the thing that she's so consumed by that she ran away.
She did. She very much ran away.
She ran away and then was
very
consumed.
Much, yeah.
She did both.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's something that she was fighting and...
Yeah.
Yeah. So she's like, oh...
I like it. She gets it a little bit more.
She gets it.
Tom's got a point. He's good at the politics stuff.
Yeah. So then now Elayne has just a brilliant plan.
A fantastic plan. Oh man, this is
Let's just go.
This is a dumpster fire.
Find proof that Pedronile has to accept.
Perfect. That'll work.
We'll disguise ourselves and follow Carradine. And now,
dear Pedronile,
here's the
it's
return.
Elayne Aes Sedai.
Elayne Trakand, daughter heir.
And Aes Sedai.
And Aes Sedai
I have found
of
proof.
the Green Aja.
Oh man.
Yes.
Assuming he was still alive, like that would never work anyways.
No. It wouldn't. No. Oh no. But
yeah.
Here's the return of Wine Drunk Elayne, and I am here for it.
Okay.
I love Wine Drunk Elayne. She's funny.
Yeah. No, I mean,
except for when she was super cringy. At least she's not being gross with Tom anymore.
That's fair. That was a different.
This is better. This is better.
She was going through a thing. It's fine now.
Is it?
Yeah, of course it is.
We're over it?
We are.
I'm not
really... I wasn't going to talk about it ever again.
I'm not really over it.
You brought it up.
I'm not over it.
Okay.
Anyway, so this is where Elayne uses illusion to change her appearance right in front of everybody.
Yep.
And Tom and Julian are just like, what the fuck? They clearly haven't seen this. They didn't know
that's
this.
how they've been sneaking out. And Nynaeve's like, you're going to spoil everything.
Yeah.
That's her secret.
Spilling all her secrets. And something interesting that I didn't know is that Elayne can change the appearance of Aviendha and Nynaeve.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. I thought you could only do it to yourself.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's funny. And then
that's how they all
Nynaeve
sneak out of the...
No, I know. I get it now.
Yeah. You just never thought about it, I guess.
Well, no, I did. But Nynaeve and Aviendha both can channel.
Sure.
Yeah.
But, like, Birgitte's been with them on missions.
Yeah, but is Birgitte dressed different?
They could put a disguise on her,
That's what I mean. Is she disguised?
Yes, when they leave. That's how nobody follows
I never
them.
thought
Otherwise,
about
it'd be like, oh, well, there's
I never thought
Birgitte
about it.
with 3 random people. Let's follow Birgitte.
I never thought about it.
Yeah. No, that's fair.
Yeah.
Like, you don't have to actively think about every little thing, but for sure. Yeah, that makes sense that you can do it to other people.
Yeah, and then my favorite is Nynaeve being dressed in a Seafolk booby dress.
Yeah, well, no, there's no top. Her boobs are out.
Oh!
The boobs, this is one of the ones where the sea folk are boobs out when they're out of light of the shore. So Elayne literally makes Nynaeve topless.
Yes, okay.
100%.
See, I just assumed it was dressed because I can't assume that anyone's boobs are out anymore.
That's fair. No, I will confirm that for you.
That's really funny.
So that's why Nynaeve has a thought.
Freaking out, and Tom and Julian are like, trying not to laugh.
But it's not technically Nynaeve's boobs, so it's different, but it's still not good for her.
Still, like,
yeah.
She's sitting there as a woman with boobs out.
Yeah.
Oh, Elayne.
Oh,
so
man.
funny.
And that's why Nynaeve literally gets so mad and tries to, like, slam a shield down on her.
But it doesn't work. She can't do it.
Yeah. Crazy.
It is crazy.
She might be thrown a little bit. Like, she might be off her game a little bit, too.
Maybe, but is Elayne growing stronger?
Possibly,
because
too.
She's been using the power a lot.
Definitely possibly, too. Yeah.
Because I feel like Nynaeve should be able to do this.
Like Shielder? Yeah. And, I mean, we get the whole, you should be able to do that.
But Elaine's already channeling, so it's more difficult. But Nynaeve is supposed to be so super strong.
And she, like, beat Moghedien, but only by throwing the Adem at her face.
She still matched Moghedien.
But she did it, so technically you think should work, but...
Yeah.
The boobs out is throwing her off her game. There's the answer for you.
All right, I'll take it, I guess. Okay. So Nynaeve shouts at Elayne, like, are you drunk? What are you doing?
Yeah.
And this gets her to stop channeling. She's like, no, I'm not.
Yeah.
And then cue Birgitte stumbling into the room. And she's like, oh, I didn't expect you all to wait up for me here.
Yeah. It's such a good entrance, too.
Yeah. And then she's like, you're going to want to hear what I have to say.
Oh, I got good information here, sort of.
Yeah, but then she dumps a pitcher of water on her own head and then comes back into the room. And it's like, that doesn't work. That is not any way, anyhow, to sober up nothing.
It doesn't technically sober her up, but maybe it, like, gets a little bit of adrenaline going in you. Wakes you up momentarily.
Perhaps, if the issue was that she's tired. But anyway, it's funny because Birgitte is like, oh my god, Matt's such a fun drinking partner. He even outdrank Beslan.
Yeah, so we know that Beslan's just basically a frat boy.
Yes.
Like, he's 100% on board with all this tomfoolery.
And Tylen was also on board with Beslan going drinking with Matt.
She knows it. She's also
She thought that was funny.
Yeah.
And Nynaeve and Elayne freak out. They're like,
really...
Beslan, Tylan's son? That child?
You're gonna corrupt him.
And they're like, that child is the same age as you.
Yes.
And they're like, oh.
Well, and But yeah, Beslan's just as bad, if not worse.
Right. And so now Nynaeve dismisses Tom and Julian. So they go, and Birgitte says, Matt isn't going to corrupt Beslan. He's already corrupt.
Yeah, she does a whole, like, something feather dancers couldn't corrupt him in a cart full of whiskey or whatever.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, speaking of feathers.
Sure.
Do you know how many times I have had to read about how wrong I was about what plumes are?
Yeah, plumes are feathers.
Plumes is literally the French word for feathers.
Well.
You said feathers.
Okay.
You said... plumes or feathers, and I went, no, I think they're flowers.
I feel like I asked it as like are plumes, because I don't know. I don't speak French.
We had no clue, and we've been corrected.
I don't come across plumes very often in my life.
Here's
I don't know.
the correction that people have been wanting and begging me for.
Officially,
there's the correction. Anyway.
Yeah, but let's talk about the bond.
Right.
Because Elayne turns on Birgitte and she's like, you got drunk.
And I felt it.
And the bond is not supposed to work that way.
Now, Elayne thinks this. She says out loud, every time a warder drinks, Aes Sedai don't fall down giggling.
Yeah.
And, like, maybe that's true. But number one, how often do warders go out drinking?
Yeah.
To the point of being intoxicated.
Sure.
And number two... maybe I do feel it and do get a little drunk, and they're just a little better at holding it together than Elayne is.
That is true too.
And like, what does Elayne know about that at all?
Those are all fair points. I want to read a little excerpt from the glossary for you.
All right. So it's time for glossary definitions with Brett.
So there's two I want to reference. The first is from Brigitte's definition, and it says warder to Elayne Trakand, believed to be possibly the first female warder ever, a fact that causes a number of difficulties, few of them expected. So that's the first sentence to hint.
Okay.
And then under the warder definition, it says at the end, by all historical records, warders have always been men, but recently a woman has been bonded, revealing certain differences in the effects.
Okay.
So there might be some reality
to
it.
This.
Yeah. Like that actually there is a difference.
Okay, and then they just sprinkled that in for funsies in the show?
Exactly.
Okay.
Like very possible. So.
Okay. But I also do think that sometimes Elayne can be a little overzealous in thinking that she knows about things.
That is absolutely fair too.
Because this is where Brigitte's like, I don't know, you know more than I do. Aes Sedai and warders are supposed to be men and women. Maybe that's the difference.
Yeah.
Maybe we're too alike.
There we go. Figured it out.
Sort of.
Maybe possibly.
Maybe. I didn't buy that. But the glossary definition does change how I think.
It's in the glossary.
It's there.
Yeah.
You're right. So now Nynaeve turns the topic back to Matt because she's like, that's the whole reason why you went. Did you even, like, talk to him?
Did you talk about... Yeah, is he coming? Like, is that the plan
Is
still?
he coming in the morning or what? And then she goes, he might come.
Yeah, maybe.
And so Nynaeve says, what do you mean he might come? And Birgitte says, all he really wants is an apology from you and thanks.
Yeah, very simple.
And then that opens up the whole conversation about what happened in the Stone of Tyr.
Yeah.
And the legendary, does Matt deserve an apology?
Yeah, and I think we have a definitive answer here.
He certainly thinks he does.
I mean, that's the thing. So Matt clearly has told Birgitte about how he went into the stone with Julian to free them from the dungeon.
Yep.
And all he got was the backhanded thanks, and then, like, wrapped him up in the power, whatever.
Yep.
Made him feel grateful that they didn't boot him in the butt on the way out.
Yeah.
But Birgitte literally says, I don't know if I would have done that for anybody, like, maybe Gaidal Cain, but, like, I don't know if I would even have done that.
And you know what? There's so much more to the story.
There is.
Because Matt overheard the Ravine plot to have Elayne murdered.
To have her head chopped off.
In Caemlyn.
Yep.
He literally turned on his heel and raced down there.
Yep.
Like, this wasn't just like a...
Found the dude, killed the dude,
yeah.
and then went into the Stone of Tyr. And then it gets better because then Nynaeve is kind of muttering about it. It's like, oh, that's not how it happened.
Yeah.
And then she's like, But also, like, Bilal probably wasn't even going to do anything to us because we were just bait, and the Black Aja were there. And then Birgitte says, oh, he didn't mention the Forsaken and the Black Aja were also there.
Yeah.
So, yeah, you definitely owe him something here.
Right.
Because if you think about what Matt did, sure, we can get into the, would they have escaped? And we,
that
at the
part
time,
doesn't matter too. Yeah, no.
We talked about how, like, they needed each other. Matt
Yeah.
needed them. They needed him. It was a combined effort.
Yeah.
But they still need to say, like, hey, man, thanks.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, and I didn't think that a thank you was ever going to come.
Yes, and it sort of did.
Does.
Yeah.
Coming up.
Sort of.
Future tense.
Definitely, sort of. It's
Nynaeve starts freaking out and says, I'm never going to effing apologize to effing Matt Cawthon ever effing ever.
Never, ever, ever.
Ever, never, ever, never. That's never happening.
Yeah.
And Avienda leans in and is like, Elayne, if any of this is even remotely true, you have toe to Matt.
And it's worse.
Because of your actions since then.
Yeah.
Because you're a complete bitch.
Yeah.
You've been
worst. Terrible.
You're the worst person in the world to Matt.
Yeah.
Always.
Yeah. Which is accurate.
And Elaine's like, it's correct.
You are right.
You are right.
I mean, I respect that Elayne had one opinion. Someone gives her some information and advice, and she's changing her mind. She's not happy about it, but she's doing it, and that's what
she wants to impress Avienda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is like, that's a fair reason when you're presented new information like that. It's good.
Yeah.
Change your mind, change your actions, go suck it up and apologize.
Not Nynaeve, though.
Not really.
She doubles down on never apologizing.
Oh, yeah.
And everyone's ignoring her at this point, and the chapter ends.
It's not about her anymore.
No, it is for certainly not.
Yeah.
Okay, and on that note, we're going to take a quick break, and I'm going to go fill up my wine.
All right, sounds good.
Okay, update. I'm out of wine. It's a sad day.
Oh, my goodness. Oh, yeah. I didn't even notice. Yeah, that's not the color of wine.
No, it's not wine.
Is that whiskey and ginger ale?
It is, yes. That's what this is.
All right.
It'll do.
Yeah.
It'll do my job for me. It helps me talk.
I hope so.
All right, chapter 22, Small Sacrifices, and the chapter symbol is the Flame of Tarvalin, because of, don't pretend to be Aes Sedai.
Yeah, I have some things to ask you about this, because it's an interesting thing that happens here.
Yeah.
Are you at all worried?
Medium.
Okay, let's get there.
I wasn't before you said that, and now I think I should be.
Yeah, I'm gonna bring up some things that we know. And then we'll talk about it when we get there.
I think I was just too excited for Nynaeve doing something relatively competent and emotionless.
Sure.
Because everything Nynaeve does is so chock full of emotion, and this was something relatively logical.
Yeah.
She got a hold of herself.
That's fair.
She saw the situation in front of her, and she moved forward with the information that she had, and I was just so pumped for Nynaeve. I think that's why I like this chapter so much, is because I love when there's like a glimmer of hope.
Yeah.
A glimmer of growth.
You know what's really funny? Is that you love Nynaeve in this chapter, and it is not a Nynaeve perspective.
No.
It's Elayne.
No, I know.
It's just so funny.
Yeah, I don't like being in Nynaeve's head. That bothers me.
Okay.
It's really irritating being in Nynaeve's head because she's so arrogant and it's annoying.
All those things.
But no, I was impressed, and we'll get there. I wrote a lot of stuff about how impressed I was with Nynaeve in this moment, because it's Elayne who's flipping out, being super in her head about what's going on here.
Yeah.
Can't see past how angry she is, and that's usually Nynaeve's shtick.
Hey.
Especially with the flip-flop between the Matt situation and then the Mistress
situation. Yeah, I was going to say, let's get through this, half-ass apology here, and then we can get to the other stuff, so.
My favorite is Matt's reaction.
No, I know. It's so good.
It is so good, even in his hungover.
This guy is so hungover.
On his deathbed state.
I have been here, and I understand this. I feel him so hard right now in this chapter.
Uh-huh.
I get it.
Yeah.
He is it's death.
Yeah, well, it's the sun's barely up. Yeah. He's probably just gone to bed. He's it's not morning
He has had zero
yet.
Actual sleep. He has been unconscious
for
maybe 2 hours. He has had zero actual sleep.
Yeah. Well, and even Birgitte last chapter was wow, Matt drinks a lot.
And he's not in the hangover state. He is still drunk.
Yeah.
He is it is.
And hungover. I think he's quite hungover.
Combo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can we talk about morning after head? Or should we just skip over that one?
Let's glaze past that. Let's just like...
That's my favorite line. It's my favorite line.
Okay.
Oh, man. Okay, so we're going to enter in our Elayne perspective. It's barely morning, and Nynaeve and Elayne are at the inn.
They're so mean.
Because they're here to talk to Matt. Elayne is feeling a little bit of Birgitte's hangover, and funny side note, Nynaeve wouldn't heal her.
Yeah.
Essentially out of, like, weird spite.
Is would or couldn't, and Elayne isn't good enough to heal, so...
Yeah, well, and Elayne can't heal herself.
Well, she could heal Birgitte's hangover.
I see, okay.
And then that should get rid of the effects.
That's true.
But Elayne thinks that she's not good enough at healing.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah.
And then Nynaeve was like, oh, I'm not angry enough to channel. It's like, yeah, right.
I bet.
And then gave her a mix of disgusting herbs that didn't even work. So that's how spiteful Nynaeve is to begin this chapter.
A little bit, because they're making her do something she doesn't want to do.
She hates that.
Hates it.
Hates it.
Okay, let's talk about this too, because when they get to the inn,
yeah,
I don't know if you noticed, but there's somebody sitting at the corner of the inn.
I didn't notice.
There's a one-legged beggar sitting at the corner of the inn where Matt's staying.
One-legged?
Yeah. Now, that's not old Cully.
No.
You might be thinking, because
he was one-eyed and
no teeth. But if one beggar, and then Matt got attacked by beggars.
Well, that's what he thinks. Uh-huh.
Well,
yep.
I mean,
Sure. Smelly, gross people.
With no shoes on. I mean, quite possibly it could be beggars in Evudar.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to point fingers here, but are you not suspicious of beggars here at all? I feel like
I could be suspicious.
I'm doing half your job here, being suspicious of these people.
I could be suspicious. I didn't even notice.
Yeah, I know. You got to be on the lookout.
Ah.
Yeah.
Okay. There's a lot going on here.
I know.
It's a dangerous place.
Okay. Anyways, but you know who is doing the whole let's spy on Carradine plan?
Aviendha and Birgitte.
Yeah.
In
disguises.
Yeah.
So that plan that Elayne had while she was like...
You know what? I trust Aviendha and Birgitte to do this job a lot better than I trust
hopefully
Elayne and...
they just kill him.
Oh.
Of all the people who would who would talk to each other,
just like throw a knife from a crowd
and be like, hey, instead of like getting evidence to send a notarized letter to Pedro Nile, why don't we just kill this?
Honestly,
let's go get him.
That would be fantastic.
Yes.
Wow, I've never hoped for someone's death.
The Wheel of Time series would be a lot shorter if people just killed the people
but
that they should kill.
Birgitte, would.
Right?
I hope. No, they're not going to. But that would be so cool.
Yeah. Well, they were both the ones on this, on the way to the Sea Folk or whatever, who was like, let's just kill him.
The Bobbsey twins.
Yeah, both of them. They're like, lad, just
get them off.
Yeah, there you go.
They are, no, off them.
Off them. It's a little different.
Well, that's completely different.
But it's fine.
It's the morning after head. It's gone to my head.
Oh, no. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm in the gutter.
Okay.
I'm going to get out of the gutter.
Okay.
So, Nynaeve still hasn't given up on the whole, I will not apologize.
Oh, yeah, the entire way here.
And
up to the room.
Nynaeve's give it up. You agreed to this, shut it. And the serving women are in here cleaning up the events of last night, and Elayne asks a random serving woman.
Yep, not random, though.
To be directed to Matt Cawthon's room, and it's Kara.
Yes.
Who is so pissed.
So salty. She hates this.
She hates this so much, and she says a woman last night and ladies this morning.
Huh.
But she takes Elayne's money and tells them where to find Matt.
Yeah.
But she also goes running off to the Mistress here.
Yeah.
To tell her about this situation.
That's true. And also Nynaeve makes a comment see, he's trying to push his attentions on that poor girl, and that's why she's clearly not happy.
I can't believe I'm going to apologize to someone like Matt.
It's excuse me, I'm pretty sure that relationship is the other way around.
Yeah. Okay, so now they get to the door, and when they knock on it, there's no answer, and Nynaeve is like, oh shoot, I guess he's not here, we gotta leave. Yep. And Elayne's like, of course he's here. So she busts in, the room's a disaster, Elayne notices that Matt is sprawled out on the bed, and I for sure thought he was gonna be naked.
Oh, okay.
I thought he was gonna be butt naked, passed out in bed.
It's written a really funny scene, the boots on the...
washstand.
Yeah, it's there's a sock over the chair, it's just...
Yeah, I don't even know, but he still has clothes on. I thought it would be even funnier if he was naked, because Nynaeve would have been even more mad. I really expected that.
Yeah,
I thought that would have been really funny, but No.
But you know he still has on too?
Foxhead medallion.
Doesn't take it off.
And Elayne thinks to herself that she might be able to get it off
She's
without him
swipe
noticing
it.
because he's so drunk.
Yeah.
But
no, not happening.
No. Matt stirs, says, "Go away, Niram." And Nynaeve clearly loves Matt in this terrible state. She thinks this is funny that he's like hungover here.
Oh yeah, it's like adding to the suffering here.
Yeah. And she's like, "It's not Niram, Master Cawthon." And so Matt says, "What? Why are you here? It's the middle of the night."
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. No good sleep.
Yeah.
He's just maybe been unconscious for a couple hours.
Yeah, and Nynaeve says, "It's morning. Don't you remember talking to Birgitte last night?" And then that gets Matt's attention.
Yeah, so he like probably sits up too quick, and then just puts his hands over his head.
You know what I really like that we skipped over? A really cute detail.
Sure.
Is he has a washcloth. Like a wet washcloth over his eyes.
Yeah.
And whenever I get really bad headaches,
yeah,
I really like a cold washcloth on my forehead.
Yeah.
That's something I like and understand.
That's true.
So I like that detail.
It's good.
Yeah. Now, Elayne says, "Listen, Birgitte informed us of your demands," and then proceeds to thank Matt very formally from the bottom of her heart, blah, blah, blah. And Nynaeve says, "Yeah, me too."
Yeah, that summarizes like a page and a half, I think, roughly. So.
And then Matt says, "Oh, no big deal.
All good.
It was nothing. I'm sure you would have gotten yourselves out of it a minute later."
Right? Do you think he's being sarcastic?
No, sort of.
Yeah, yeah.
I think it was nothing, maybe, but then the next part, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
I feel like he's too hungover to actually be
sarcastic.
Sarcastic and jabbing. Like he's just like, you know what? It's all good.
Whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just exhausted and my head hurts and they keep talking about how terrible he looks, bloodshot eyes, and
yes.
So
this is how Elayne described her feeling like super hungover after drinking all the wine. She's like, "This is how I die.
Yeah,
this is my death."
Yeah. But now this whole thing makes Elayne really angry because he demanded an apology and then he says it's nothing. So she's just trying to be like, "What the fuck is happening here?"
It goes on for a long time.
It really does. Nynaeve lunges for him with clawed fingers.
Yes.
Like she's legitimately
gonna attack him.
Attack the shit out of him.
Yeah. And Elayne stops
has to stop
her.
it, but he still has his head in his hands and doesn't even see that.
Yeah. And then we get the whole Matt calls out Nynaeve because he's like, "Oh, Elayne said a whole bunch there, but I haven't heard anything from you."
Yeah.
And then Nynaeve does the typical, "I'm not going to shout at you," as she shouts at him.
Yep.
And then sort of apologizes.
Yep.
And then, there we go. We got the apologies out of the way.
Well, we sort of did. It was a little bit more, too, because we got the whole, "Thanks for everything. We won't treat you terribly anymore or order you around. And we will accept your bodyguards and tell you when we're going somewhere."
Yeah.
So that whole thing was the extra step that Aviendha told Elayne basically she had to do.
That's how you make up for your toe.
And Aviendha even suggested that they let Matt switch them. And Elayne was like, "Yeah, fucking right."
Yeah, never gonna happen.
Yeah. So that's funny.
Yeah. And for the record, Matt comments out loud about the dice still going in his head.
Yeah.
And that's
he
relevant.
He mutters to himself, yeah.
It's relevant because the dice are going to stop a little bit later.
They are, yeah. So, and suddenly.
Yes.
So after all the apologizing and all the kind of snide comments back and forth, Matt says, "Birgitte said you wanted me to find something for you." And then we get some back and forth between the three of them, and we get Nynaeve being like, "No, you're not going to find it. You'll never find it. You're going to accompany us and help us with our search.
We're going to find it. You're just going to tag along.
You're just going to be there."
Come on.
And he says, "If you want a Taviran on a leash, go ask Rand or Perrin."
Ooh.
And see what kind of response you get from them.
Yeah.
So I thought that was really, really funny.
That's good.
Yeah. But then they get a whole explanation for Matt about the whole Bowl of the Wind situation and everything. He thinks it's really cool. What a cool thing to find.
Sure.
He's into it. But he says, basically, he's never going to let them go to the Rahad again alone.
Yes. Well, specifically, Elayne and Nynaeve.
Yeah.
Because Aviendha and Birgitte, they can take care of themselves. And that also sets them off It's just like a bunch of antagonistic things they're saying to each other. I feel some is accidental, some's on purpose. Like, it's a lot.
And then Matt asks if Birgitte told him anything else about last night, but it seems not.
Yeah.
So, secrets are secrets.
Yeah, secrets are secrets.
And Nynaeve says, since you're not in a condition to go anywhere with us right now, you can spend the morning moving yourself into the palace.
Right.
And Matt has a horrified look on his face, and I immediately was like, oh no. Oh no.
Yeah.
That's where Tylen has easy access.
And it gets worse. So number one, as soon as they insist that he's staying in the palace, the dice stop.
Yeah, that's not good.
No, not when like a decision, because we know that that's like decisions when decisions are made.
And I really thought being in this inn was going to be the problem.
Yeah, well, that's the...
Because when he first entered, that's when the dice like started rolling, and I was like, oh no, this is bad. And then he immediately talked to a guy who was Shanchan, and I was like, ooh, this is where this is going. That's not where this is going.
Right.
But I did tell you I was very concerned and very suspicious of this Tylen thing, and I don't think that that's the end of her predatory gazes.
Okay.
And I'm very concerned for Matt.
Fair. Yeah. No, absolutely.
Yeah.
For the record, when he entered the Wandering Woman Inn, the dice stopped in his head. So the dice stopping in his head are like basically when critical things happen.
Yeah.
So him entering the inn was a critical plot point.
I see.
Coming to that inn.
Yeah, okay.
And now
I remembered there was something dice. Okay.
Yeah, and a critical plot point for him will be switching to the palace now because it's been like decision made, you're going to the palace.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Yeah. No, okay, I got it.
The issue is like they start, they stop, they start, they stop.
Yes.
Sometimes they like start twice.
Yeah.
And stop once and then it's still going.
Right.
So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and then they try to just be like, don't worry, the rooms are great.
Yeah.
He's like, no, the Wandering Woman's fine. I'll stay here. This place is good. And they're like, no, Tylen chose the rooms for yourself, just down from her own. She's taken a very personal interest in you, and you wouldn't have us offend the queen, would you?
Yeah, so that's even worse
and
because...
this is where Elayne notes that Matt looks like he's about to throw up.
Yes.
And it's not, because he's hungover.
Yeah, and then she's like, I don't understand why you're putting up such a big fuss, because this is what you want. You want to be close to us. This is what you wanted the whole time.
We're all making sacrifices here, Matt.
It's like, poor guy.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's going to get worse before it gets worse.
Yeah. And then they offer to heal his head, and he says, no way, Jose.
Not a chance.
And that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. Then they're going to leave. They're going to leave him to it, and he's going to have to move into the palace.
Yeah, that's it for the Matt stuff anyways.
Yeah, I don't get why he has to do that.
He doesn't have to, but that's what they're doing. They're making him move in.
Yeah.
It's like a power thing. Like if he's going to accompany them. I just think
that he really could be like,
no. Yeah.
Right?
I know. There's different angles of why.
Like, yeah. Yeah. Anyway, okay. Well, we're going to move on because Nynaeve and Elayne leave Matt's room, head back down the corridor, talking about how Matt's going to cause them so much trouble. And then there's this voice coming down the hall that says, you two are going to make more trouble for him than he ever could. And it's Mistress Anan.
Yeah, Satal Anan,
yep,
the innkeeper.
The innkeeper.
Yep.
And she says, I doubt I've ever seen so much foolishness. Did he dandle you both on a knee all at once? And Nynaeve's like spluttering. What's the word?
Yeah.
Where she's like, what? What?
Yeah, I would never.
Oh my God.
Perfect.
Matt, dandle? What? You know?
No, that was perfect impression. Nailed it.
Oh man, she like can't even react when this woman seizes them both by the arms.
It's a funny thing.
Shoves them into a room. My writer went like, "Oh my God, what's happening?"
Yeah, but she's just like motherly handling them.
Yeah,
you know. So they're both taken off guard, so they're not immediately like, "Oh my goodness, we're in danger" or anything. So it's a very weird dynamic, but for what's happening,
try to play it cool. And she's like, you guys are so foolish trying to pretend like you're Aes Sedai.
Yeah, well, first they say, like, hey, I think you have mistaken us, or you have the wrong impression.
Like, we're not dandling with Matt.
We're Aes Sedai. And that's when she's like, finger in the face, saying, no friggin' way are you two Aes Sedai.
Yeah.
So, overall question, besides, like, what is going on here, because from what we can tell from this perspective and this scene, she knows what Aes Sedai rings are. Like, Setael Anan knows about the tower. She knows the proper verbiage to use.
Yeah. That's what Nynaeve figures out.
Yeah, but, like, she's under the...
Or Elayne? Whose perspective are we?
We're in Elayne's perspective. Elayne understands, like, she's using all the proper words.
Like, we're going to haul you off to the Mistress of Novices.
Yeah.
She says things like that.
And she talks about the slowing, and we'll talk about that, too.
Yeah.
And then she's under the assumption that Elayne and Nynaeve are pretenders, and they're either runaways or they're wilders who, like, somehow stole rings or had them made.
Yeah.
So it's a very overarching, like, she knows a whole bunch of stuff about what's going on.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why I think that there's less funny business happening.
Okay.
Because I think that there probably is this little all illustrious and wonderful, gracious guild of the wise women.
Of the wise? Okay.
I think that all these women are probably like the wise women.
Interesting. Okay.
Yeah.
I have some connections. I'm going to just maybe put a little bit of fear into you.
Okay.
But that's okay. That's okay.
I think the funniest part is when she's like, the only thing keeping me from washing your mouth out is the possibility you might be able to channel. Or are you dumb enough to wear the ring when you can't even do that? The sisters are at the palace right now, and they're going to rip you a new one if they find out. And, you know, this is so funny. Because if this innkeeper were a man, I would be like, mansplaining. She's mansplaining. That's the term I would use.
Yeah.
But this is just her, like, literally, this is the type of person who steps in, thinks she knows everything, doesn't listen to reason, doesn't listen to what anyone else has to say, thinks she's completely right. And
you know what? I think you can use the term anyways for her. I think we can get a pass.
Maybe she's just splaining.
She's splaining, but it's like, come on.
Yeah.
But in any other case, like, she would be right, except for all the reasons why she's wrong.
Well, yeah.
Like, she has a lot of decent points.
Yeah. And I just kept going like, oh no. Every time she just like cuts them off, and
she's got you spluttering too.
Oh my gosh! Every time.
Like, how do I even?
Every time.
What do we even do? How do I convince her?
This part, I was like, oh my gosh, what is going on?
Yeah.
She just like wouldn't even let them finish a sentence, and Elaine's like, I'm the daughter of Andor, and I'm of the Green Ashes. We're with the Aes Sedai who are in the palace.
Yeah.
Who you're talking about. We're with them. Let's go talk to them.
Well, it's such a funny claim, too, though.
No.
Like, even for Elayne, though, the claim that she makes about being the daughter... It's like if you were at a bar downtown...
Yeah.
Or whatever, just getting some appies, and then some girl is like, I'm the daughter of the Duchess of York. I'd be like,
cool.
Sure you are.
I believe you. No, I'd be cool with that. Whatever.
But, like, to what end? It's like, how do I even know that's a real thing?
Yeah, no,
I don't know.
The daughter of Andor is a real thing.
Yeah, I mean, but...
And the Duchess of York probably is.
Probably is. I just made that up. I don't know.
Who knows?
It could be.
You don't know anything about that. Anyway, this whole thing was just, like, mind-blowing.
Yeah, so, okay, but we got some really important information in what Mistress Anan says.
Okay.
So, first off, she says, okay, stop lying.
Yeah.
Give up lying, because you look, and she's talking to Nynaeve, you look like you're about 21, so you might be up to 10 years older if you've reached the slowing.
Right.
But
listen.
Yeah.
When Mistress Anan is like, I don't even know if you can channel, that's when I wanted them to, like, unleash on her. Like, the more that she ranted at them, the angrier I got at the Mistress, and I just wanted them to, like, teach her a fucking lesson.
And they kind of, they wrap her up. They don't,
barely.
Like, hurt her.
She doesn't care at all.
No,
she's like,
she doesn't.
oh, okay, so you can
At
channel.
least you can do that.
Because
so
it's almost
fine.
like she was provoking them to do something to her.
Yeah.
But I wanted them to, like, really make her regret it.
Oh,
like, that's how angry I was.
Oh, my.
I was mad.
Okay.
I was mad at this woman for being a stupid bitch. I was like, get
this
her.
whiskey's got you fired up, I gotta say.
Okay, so at this point, though, she's all wrapped up in air. And she's
Yes.
like, okay, so at least one of you can channel a bit.
Yeah.
We'll see, though.
Okay, so back to important information we got to get on the table here. So she looks at Nynaeve and says, you look like you're 21, you might be 10 years older if you've reached the slowing, and you might have even worn the shawl for 4 or 5 years, except for one thing, Elayne isn't old enough to have, like, started slowing yet.
Yeah.
And nobody's worn the shawl as young as you, so either you had someone make the rings for you, or Nynaeve stole it for you. But either way, you can't be a sister, and neither can she, because no Aes Sedai would ever travel with a woman who was pretending to be one, so it's just not possible.
Right.
And it's like, yeah, except for the fact that Moiraine literally traveled with people pretending to be Aes Sedai.
Yep.
Besides all the reasons she's wrong, the slowing part is what's really important. So we know Nynaeve is about 26-ish right now.
Yeah.
And it's really important because she looks so young. And from the beginning of the series, we've gotten how she looks so young. But now we have this reference to slowing, where when you channel, it slows down how you look and the aging process, which makes sense if you're going to live for like a lot longer than regular people. You're going to slow the aging progression.
Right.
So Mistress Anan also knows about the slowing of what happens here. So this is where Elayne thinks like, oh, she knows all the correct terms. So maybe Satallanan went to the tower as a girl, but since she can't channel at all, like clearly she can tell there's no like anything there, you would be able to feel it. So maybe that's how, and she got booted out. So that's how she knows all the terminology and everything.
Right, and then obviously feels a certain kind of way.
Yeah, maybe she's a little bit bitter. So. Yeah.
Makes sense. So now Elayne tells Nynaeve to release her, and Nynaeve's like, what? Why? And she starts to say, the only way I see to convince you is, so she tries to be diplomatic.
Yeah.
She tries to be logical and reasonable, but this woman, Mistress Anan, is the opposite of that. She's not logical or reasonable.
Do you have a guess for what her way to convince her was?
We're going to go to the tower. We're going to go to, not the tower, to the palace.
Yeah.
And we're going to go see, like, I'll show you where my rooms are in the palace.
Yeah.
That's also, like literally what she starts to say. Elayne's like, the only way, like, come, let's go.
Yeah.
Let's go ask the Aes Sedai.
Which is just funny because it's like, why do I have to explain anything to you, random stranger lady?
Exactly.
I don't have to explain anything to you.
Literally anything. And then that's where crazy Mistress Anan cuts her off and says, I have no time for games. I can help you, though. I know those who can, anyway. Some women who take in strays. I have to know, though, were you ever in the tower, or are you wilders? And if you were there, were you put out, or did you run away? They handle each in a different way.
Yeah.
And Elayne is super done with this. She's barely listening, but this is the part Nynaeve is super listening to.
She's got her ears on,
She
right?
certainly does.
Yes.
And Elayne is still trying to be like, how can I convince you? But then she's like, okay, fine. Clearly, you can't be convinced.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to leave.
So
goodbye.
Just like, see you later.
So goodbye.
See you later. I don't actually have business with you here today.
And I actually don't need your help or want your help.
Yeah.
That's nice, I guess, but like, bye.
Yeah.
Okay, bye. And then Nynaeve pauses and says, you know a group of women who can help us? And Elayne does not understand what Nynaeve is doing.
Yeah.
This isn't one of those, like, look at each other and know what's happening situation.
This like, hey, we don't need help. What are you doing?
Yeah, this is the opposite of this. This isn't Elayne catching on.
Yes, yeah.
I feel like maybe I caught on, though.
Okay.
I think that Nynaeve is very interested in a group of women who could potentially channel.
Oh, 100%. Especially when she says, hey, there's probably about 50 of them all together.
And especially when we know that those other dark black Ajas know that women who are kicked out of the tower probably know where a storeroom is.
Okay.
So I wonder if these women, if Nynaeve...
You're getting closer to why I said maybe you should be worrying a little bit here.
Oh.
We'll get there. I'll tell more in just a second.
Okay. So Mistress Anan is like super pumped. She's like, good. I'm glad you see reason. I'm totally right about this whole situation. I'm going to help you.
I am correct. I'm
correct.
correctly.
I'm glad that you've stopped lying to me. Stop lying to yourself.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And so she said, I know a few women who take in the occasional runaway. There's about 50 of them altogether. No need to lie to me anymore. Tell me truthfully what's
And this is
going on.
important because were you ever in the tower? Because if you just ran away, then they're going to find you because they always do.
Yeah.
But if you were booted out, they're not looking for you anymore. And then it's going to be a little bit better for you.
Yes.
So, that makes sense.
Right. And then that makes sense because who did they join up with who were looking for runaways?
Yeah.
Vandelius. Yes.
Yeah, there was like a casual mention to we heard about runaways coming here.
Uh-huh.
But let's get on to this.
Okay. So Nynaeve does a total Aes Sedai lie move.
She does.
I was so impressed.
It's good, yeah.
This whole thing where Nynaeve just takes emotion out of this situation.
Well, especially if you're being
so
accused...
different for Nynaeve.
Yeah, being accused of not being Aes Sedai, you'd want to not get caught in a lie too.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. So, like, she totally could have just lied about anything here.
Oh, completely.
She could, but
she could have.
She doesn't,
but no,
which is good.
No, and it's like an Aes Sedai move, and it's very good because Nynaeve is always so wrapped up in her own anger she can barely think straight.
Yeah.
And this is her...
She's curious.
Doing something.
Yep.
And so I'm on board with whatever Nynaeve is doing because I'm actually a little bit proud of her.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Okay.
Nynaeve says, "We were told to leave the tower. I will swear that however you ask." And then Elayne is very confused. And Mistress Anan laughs and says, "Nynaeve is at least old enough to have sense. You tell the circle that." But the word circle a little bit triggered me.
Sure.
Because of the whole Dark Friend circle thing.
Well, so here's the thing. So this is why we should be maybe concerned. So Mistress Anan refers to it as a circle.
Yeah.
And we know that the other group that calls their organization a circle are the Dark Friends that are literally here.
Yes.
In Abu Dar.
Yes.
We saw Carrot and Millie Skane.
Yeah.
And of course, why wouldn't, hypothetically, if the circle of women are Dark Friends, why wouldn't Dark Friends would want to find people who run away from the tower?
Yeah.
Of course they're going to want to recruit channelers.
Yeah.
And then we also know one specific Black Aja who ran away from the tower as an accepted that I've pointed out multiple times to you.
Yes.
That she's come specifically to Abu Dar when she was accepted.
Yes.
It's Phalion.
Yes. I remember that.
Just saying, it's a little suspicious.
All of that. So it's her circle, maybe.
I don't know.
Okay.
But that's what I'm saying is like it's a little bit suspicious when we're using a lot of the same terminology.
Yeah, that part did trigger me. I'm still okay with it.
Okay.
I find this very interesting.
Okay.
It's intriguing.
And
It's like something freaking new.
Yeah.
I like new and interesting because I'm over, like...
It just stacks up and it's like, why are they so worried about if you were booted out or if you're a runaway? And they don't want to be found ever because it's suspicious.
Yeah.
And they don't want to be
I could understand them not wanting to be found.
Yeah.
That's something I get.
Just saying.
This whole society thing, like,
yeah.
I understand why they don't want to be 100% like found out. I actually went to the, like, wise women type of guild thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Okay.
But,
possibly. And that's what we would hope for.
Yeah. Right. Anyway, so we get this whole thing about how the leader of this circle is named Rhiann.
Yep.
And she isn't going to be okay with them having those Aes Sedai rings and isn't going to be okay with them lying or whatever.
Causing trouble.
Yeah, they don't want to draw attention. So...
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay. Now, Nynaeve says to Elayne, "Trust me." And then Elayne thinks to herself that she's going to make a small sacrifice. Like, she just told Matt.
By taking off their ring, because I said I do that sometimes.
And they just, like, put it in their pouch. So they're not actually giving it up right now.
No. She says, like, hey, we can take those off and melt them down to get you some starting money.
Yeah.
But that is not happening right now.
Right. And then Mistress Anan warns Nynaeve to talk to Elayne and get some sense into her, because Rhiann won't put up with any of this nonsense. And off they go with Mistress Anan, because it sure is lucky for them that she likes Matt.
Right.
Because otherwise she wouldn't go out of her way to help them like this.
Exactly. And clearly it seems like, this is something that has been done before.
Yeah. This, like, overpowered, overbearing, thinks she knows everything, thinks she's helping when they don't need any help.
Yeah.
Just wild.
Well.
Just absolutely wild.
Yeah.
Now.
I just thought you were going to be worried about, like, Elayne and Nynaeve doing the quintessential thing. Like, they walk into a trap, and look who's here to save them is Matt, who literally just talked about, like,
if that happens, I'll be like, and roll my eyes and probably throw my book in the fireplace.
Oh, no. Okay.
But I'm on board for something new and different.
Okay.
And if this potentially leads them to the bowl, then that stupid plotline can stop. And if it doesn't lead them to the bowl, then we get a new and more interesting plotline.
Excellent. Okay.
So either way.
Okay.
I'm on board for new and interesting.
I like it. Okay.
Even if it is a stupid trap.
Even if it's dangerous. Even if they get...
And I mean, to be fair, these two are going to be so much more powerful than anybody. And they can probably, at this point, bust their way out of it.
But if there's like 50 of them,
unless
then
they're conked on their head.
Doesn't matter.
Because then they're screwed.
50 is too many.
Only if they, like, know how to link and stuff.
I mean, possibly.
We'll see.
Yeah.
I'm interested.
We gotta read and find out.
It might be scary and dangerous, but I'm interested.
Okay.
Okay, I'm super eager to read on. And I'm also going to say that before you get attacked like 100 times in one day and continue to think it's a complete coincidence and like, wow, people really want to steal your gold. I'm going to say that this is part of the pattern now.
Yeah, it's part of the pattern.
Thanks so much for listening, everyone. The Wheel Weaves is hosted by Dani and Brett, edited by Dani, produced by Dani and Brett, with Essen, Passion Socks, Mozyme, Moltude, Benjamin, Michelle O'Brien, Jamie Young, Cody Fouts, Megan Smiley, Jonathan Reese, Vince Lewick, and Margaret, with music by Audionautics. If you are interested in supporting us and the podcast and also getting some really cool exclusive merch and access to early episodes and bonus episodes, you can check out our Patreon at patreon.com/thewheelweavespodcast. For general information about our show and us, like how to send us shot glasses, how to join our Discord, how to get in touch with us, things like that, for all things The Wheel Weaves, you can go to thewheelweavespodcast.com. Please be sure to give us that 5-star review because it really does make a huge difference. And tell a friend about us because referrals really are the best compliment. Thanks again for listening because this really is part of the pattern now.